Japan! My name is Theo Wanne, and today I'm going to share with you a little bit of saxophone mouthpiece knowledge. Today I'm going to focus on a high baffle. What is a high baffle? And as an example to show and talk about a high baffle, I'm going to talk about and show the Shiva the Destroyer, the newest Theo Wanne mouthpiece. There are several kinds of baffles traditionally in a saxophone mouthpiece. There's a straight baffle, which goes from the tip rail down into the chamber, a rollover that rolls from the tip rail down into the chamber, and a step baffle. A step baffle has a ledge or a step that then drops into the chamber. So the baffle is this section right here, right behind the tip rail. And the way to think about a baffle is that it controls the speed at which the air initially enters the saxophone. For example, if you think about water coming out of a hose, if you have a water hose, and the water coming out comes out the entire width of the hose, there'll be a large volume of water coming out very slowly. This is like a straight baffle or a low baffle, and it gets a very dark sound that does not project very far because the airstream is like the water. It doesn't go very far, but it's very thick. Now if you put your finger over the end of that hose, the same volume of water has to come out a much smaller opening. So what happens is the speed of the water must increase. So if you put your finger over the end of a hose, the stream will become narrower, but it will go much further. This translates into a brighter sound. So this is why in a high baffle mouthpiece, you'll see something that looks like this, like a step. So the high baffle mouthpiece was made popular in the 1970s when Dave Gardella first came out with his mouthpieces. And it was made very famous by Michael Brecker, who played on the Dave Gardella mouthpieces. Now, the issue with a high baffle mouthpiece comes when the airstream is going much further. It's also much thinner, and this can translate into a thinner sound. So there are ways to get around that, and that's where technology that we've been applying comes into play. So we now have what we're calling ART, A-R-T technology, which is Advanced Resonance Technology. How can you make that thin airstream now sound fatter, fuller, more resonant? And there are several ways of doing this. Using the Shiva mouthpiece as an example again, we have the most interesting feature being the shark gill chamber inside the mouthpiece. This is working with a concept called boundary layer effect. This is seen in golf balls, it's seen in nature, in shark skin, which is rough. And the concept basically is that, using golf ball as an example, that a golf ball, when it's moving through the air, if it's smooth, or if it's rough, or if it has dimples, it will push the same amount of air. However, if it's smooth, the air will form a pocket behind it, and it will basically drag a large quantity of air behind it. So you're pushing air and you're creating drag and you're pulling air. What boundary layer effect is the air hits the golf ball if it's textured or has dimples in it, and the dimples create a disturbance. And that disturbance in the air sucks the air closer to the back of the golf ball, meaning that it's pulling less air behind it. And what this translates in sound is a more free-blowing instrument. So in studying the hulls of speedboats, I came up with basically the shark gill chamber, named shark gill simply because of the shape inside. So I did a lot of research and development to come up with the shape inside the chamber. The effect is that it creates the disturbance in the airflow, allowing the airstream to fill up more and creating a fuller sound. Other features that you'll see are the drop floor at the back of the baffle, which accentuates and opens up the bottom end of the horn, which is a problem with high baffle mouthpieces. I've also incorporated a very special tip rail design, incorporated with a rollover baffle, to get both a bright sound but also a thick and full sound. That, in combination with our elliptical window shape and very wide window, will ensure that even though you have a lot of brightness due to the high baffle, you also get a very thick and full sound at the same time. I hope this talk has helped you understand a little bit about high baffles, and that the Shiva mouthpiece can help you hear what I'm talking about. Thank you very much, and till next time.